There are only two things in the world that can make a restorer drag a Honda Shadow VLX bobber like that. It either needs a thorough wash or a total overhaul. Actually, it needs both. And Ed the Brit is right on hand to get the job done. Ed is a bag of talent. A builder, fabricator, mechanic, painter, and all-round restoration genius proudly flying the British flag on American soil. In the past, he has successfully undertaken some challenging projects. But this one, with its complex frame and neglected engine, could be his most difficult restoration yet. Years of neglect have turned this once powerful bobber into a motionless wreck. To be fair, the exterior looks decent, but it's hard to tell if the engine is still in good shape. Plunging straight into the action, Ed set out to knock off every component on the bike, starting from the handle. That was fun to watch, and it was pretty fast as well. But Ed knew that to strip this bike completely, he needed to increase his speed and raise his game to another level. And that is exactly what he did. Moving like a man on a mission, he tore through every section that needed attention, applying every healing trick in his playbook, from soldering to grinding, welding, and sanding. That was a good watch, but the real action was just getting started. Here's Ed sketching out the perfect blueprint for the seat stand he's about to fabricate. Once the design was locked in, it was time to bring it to life. This obviously wasn't a stroll in the park. He had to cut, weld, and shape the metal with care and precision. Next, he drilled a hole at the center of the seat plate, then polished and welded another component to seamlessly connect the seat to its brand new base. From there, he moved straight away to the fuel tank. To be honest, the tank as it was at the beginning of this restoration wasn't too bad. In fact, it could still pass for a vintage classic. But as a perfectionist, Ed wasn't ready to settle for less, so he simply went over and beyond to upgrade it. Some might say, it's just a tank. But the craftsmanship here is next level. I've seen plenty of restorations, but this is probably the first time I've watched a restorer fabricate a brand new filler neck from scratch. You can tell this guy is good at what he does, and he has absolutely earned my respect. But this restoration is far from over. He still has to tear down and rebuild key components like the wheels, exhaust, and engine. Because without those working in perfect harmony, this bike will never hit the road again. The rear wheel and exhaust pipes were pretty easy to yank off, but when it came to the engine, Ed needed a little backup. With the engine off, Ed attacked the rear swing arm, rear fender, and front fork with the same focus. Once he got them all out, it was time to start the heavy lifting. But first, I've got something interesting to tell you. Without wasting time, Ed zeroed in on the mainframe, stripping away every speck of rust and polishing it to a flawless finish. Next, he turned to the wheels, scrubbing, sanding, and painting them back to pristine condition. And then it was time for the big elephant in the room, the engine. That is gorgeous. Ed has got so many hardcore skills, and he's shown quite a few of them already. But I bet he's got more tricks in his magic box that he'll unleash before the end of this video. Back at the workshop, Ed was already gearing up for the next phase of the restoration. As I mentioned earlier, he's got a few more tricks up his sleeve, and it was only a matter of time before he pulled them out. The first one was a brilliant technique that allowed him to mount the engine without stress and human assistance. That was pure genius from Ed. Given how simple and effective it was, other restorers should probably consider trying it. With the engine locked in place, Ed wasted no time bolting in the rear swing arm and every other restored component, bringing this beast one step closer to completion. The transformation was taking shape, and very quickly, I must say. But there were still a few crucial parts left to tackle, specifically the fender and fuel tank. The paint job was mesmerizing, and I thought it was cool that Ed maintained the original color. But apparently, he wasn't done just yet. Like a true artist, he carefully mapped out sections on the tank, creating what looked like an intricate pattern. And I can't wait to see how this turns out. Absolutely stunning. The more I stare at the intricate design on the fuel tank, the more I appreciate Ed's craftsmanship. He hasn't just restored the body of this bike, he's brought back its soul and dignity. This isn't just a restoration, it's an art, the pure beauty of a bike. And you can literally see all of Ed's hard work shining through every curve, every weld, and every polished surface of the bobber. Before we delve back into the action, let's explore the history of this beast. The Honda Shadow VLX bobber is a cruiser motorcycle manufactured from the late 1980s to 2008. Back then, its low-slung frame and liquid-cooled 583 cubic centimeter V-twin engine made it a top choice for riders who wanted both comfort and style without breaking the bank. Sure, it doesn't have the cutting-edge tech of today's cruisers, but its lightweight chassis, smooth handling, and classic chopper aesthetics make it a timeless icon, even now. Now that we know the history of the bike, let's head back to the garage and see what Ed's been up to. But first, I've got another message for you. As you can see here, Ed was putting finishing touches on the bike. He tightened a few components by the side before crowning it all with the freshly restored fuel tank. And then, with that last screw locked in place, it was time for the ultimate test. Will this bobber roar back to life? Or will it fall silent forever? Well, we're about to find out. But even before the engine is ignited, I think it's fair to, once again, highlight the amazing work Ed has done with this project. He's taken a good-looking bike and transformed it into a unique masterpiece that even the world's greatest craftsman would be proud of. Watching him piece this bike together has been nothing short of satisfying. His attention to detail is outstanding, and that paint job is beyond epic. But in the end, the ultimate goal of the restoration is to see the bike roar again, and if that doesn't happen, then all of Ed's hard work would essentially be a waste. Here is the moment of truth we've been waiting for all day. As Ed approached the bike, my heart skipped a beat. I couldn't help but ask once again, will this bike run again? Well, I got an emphatic response as Ed fired up the engine and stormed off in excitement, and you cannot blame him. I mean, who would turn down the chance to take this beauty for a spin? I would give anything to hitch a ride on that bike. But what about you? Would you ride this restored classic? Let us know in the comments.